So, pandemic. I'm a pretty solid introvert, and I homeschool our 5 kids. So, home is theoretically what I do all the time. I also spend a lot of time in my own head. Prime quarantine candidate, right? You'd think so. You'd think I'd ride the wave like a boss. I would have thought so too. At home all the time? Okay. School at home? Well, we're homeschoolers. So, 0 things changing for us. Except not true at all. Where we had been meeting up with friends and exploring, spending afternoons at coffee shops and at parks, suddenly we were sitting on our hands, listing around the house, bumping into our own boredom and not knowing what to do. What occurred to me very quickly was how vital faces and voices were. I had no idea our humanity mattered so much, and mattered so much to me in particular. I've long gone rogue in my life, fine all by myself. But God thought better of us, thought better of me than I thought of myself. I heard a sermon years and years and years ago when my big kids were small about how, as people, it was important that when we move to a place, we plant trees. And then we stay there in that house, in that yard, long enough to watch the trees grow up. 10 years, more maybe. Because that meant you'd get to know the people around you, and that was what mattered. It was the people that mattered. It was really only the people that mattered. Now here we are so many months deep into COVID, and our heads are falling off. Why? Because we can't shop? No, for the love we have Amazon. Because we can't go to the theater? No, it's not that either. We're struggling because we were meant for faces, voices, hugs, and handshakes. That's how God wired our humanity. And that's basically the end. I noticed through all this muck, the places I was the best were when I made a conscious effort or someone made one with me to connect with my real face, my real self, or at the least my real actual voice. Man, just a friend voice on the other end of a phone line was like a life shot through me, like a bolt of lightning. Not just typing on a screen. Obviously that was still important, and man, didn't we lean heavy, and are we still leaning heavy into that medium? But it's not like my real body showing up and my actual self being known. Our physical selves in proximity to other people really, really matter. There's no substitute for us bringing our whole selves to each other to be known and to be loved. The other piece that bubbled up in all this madness is this: the strickening is the gift. I know. I just said it out loud. I hate this personally, to be clear. I don't want things taken from me, ever. Fill me up, fill me with all the good things, fill me, and let's go. God is abundant, life is rich, let's go. But as I do go, as I live, I develop deep crevices in my heart, and that's where the junk collects. I look around and I find things to depend on to eke out a little life, just a little bit, that is not God himself or from God himself, and I make them mine. Even something as basic as coffee or chocolate. For ages, I've been meaning to give my body and my brain a break from sugar. Just a few days without chocolate, stretch of time without a glass of wine or coffee in particular. And I'd been telling myself for actual years it would be such a good idea to take up fasting. I'd done it before, a long time ago, pre-babies, but I'd never quite gotten around to doing what I knew would be awesome for my soul. We're like that, aren't we? So then, just before Thanksgiving, I got sick. Not bad, but I lost my taste and I lost my sense of smell, and I was just sunk. I love food. I love food so much. I love cooking. I love drinks, hot, cold, bring it on. I love garlic spitting in a cast iron skillet and a little olive oil. I can tell by smell where I am in the course of a day. coffee and wood stove in the morning, wintry air when the kids come in from playing in the afternoon, savory soup smell in the evening. And it sounds so dumb, I realize, compared to what people have been experiencing in this pandemic. I was truly fine, just slightly less, but this was my real thing, and God is extraordinarily personal if he's anything. I've been using food to medicate the hard things, apparently, and I tried to cook my way around what was bothering me. I think sometimes it's the smallest things that get under our skin in the places meant for God and turn our heads away from him ever so slightly. So, God, in his kindness, took food for me. Cooking and prepping, eating, planning, and he made room. And can we just talk about how many things I burned because I couldn't smell when they were done? Just ridiculous. To be honest, I was pretty whiny about it too. I didn't just roll my heart over and thank Jesus for loving me more than I love myself. Not at all, even a little bit. We would also miss actual play dates. We would miss activities. We'd miss a small holiday gathering with family. I would miss the taste of Thanksgiving, of all things, the quintessential taste pinnacle of American holidays. But when I stopped running the poor me monologue in my head and just gave in, said quietly in my spirit, okay, whatever this is, I'm going to be okay. I noticed a shift, an expansiveness in my chest, a freedom from ordinary things that had grown too important to me. And when you can't taste, you can't depend on dinner to fill your emotional belly. It won't. I mean, it never did, but now I was aware of how often I tried. And I truly couldn't go places, so I couldn't drive myself away from my insecurities. I couldn't play date myself into feeling better. And when you have no choice but to turn back to God for the second or the millionth time, you begin to see the strychnine that he's given you as a gift. We can't make room for more of God by ourselves. He has to do it for us. And that's where the joy is, the realest life that there is.